Welcome. It's Friday, and this is our next adventure to kind of go over some stuff that we've been working on as far as our vendors are concerned. Our vendors are very important to us, and we wanted to take this opportunity in these videos to introduce you to each vendor accordingly. This way you have a little bit more insight of who they are as far as the people behind the crafts at our festival and what to look forward to. And if you're interested in getting anything before the end of the year, before Christmas, you have the opportunity to contact these people directly. Subscribe, look in the comment section for the interview. Okay, we're here, and we actually have this beautiful woman here that is an author. What's your name?
Jennifer Meinking.
Meinking.
Yes, Meinking.
Meinking.
It's a tough last name.
Just think of King, the Kings.
That's actually what it means.
Yeah?
Yeah, in German.
Oh.
My master, my lord, my king. Mm-hmm.
So, you're an author.
Yes.
And you've written now 2 books that you published?
Correct, and I'm halfway through the third.
Really? Already
Yes.
the third?
Yes,
Wow.
and I have another novel that's finished that's in the editing process.
Well, give us a background on your outfit.
Oh, okay. So this is my Lady Loki cosplay. These horns were made by my daughter. She is a very, very talented and creative young lady. So I wanted a pair of Loki horns that were not quite as big as hers. And so she made these for me. I was originally going to wear them for the Boston Comic-Con, but that was canceled due to the COVID crisis. So it's actually really exciting to be able to wear them finally. And then I have a Lady Loki corset and skirt that I'm actually borrowing from a friend who is also another cosplayer who goes to Comic-Cons as well.
It's a great outfit. I have, even just for a Comic-Con, that's a great outfit.
Yeah, it's really pretty. She had this custom made for her.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And when she told me about it, she said, I don't know if you're going to like the green. And when I saw it, I said, that is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Well, what's interesting in that retrospect is that I started recently doing, and you can tell in the background here, I've got all this leather stuff.
Yes, and I've seen your stuff on Facebook.
And I'm even wearing one of my bracers that I made the other day.
That is awesome.
There are actually corsets, leather corsets that are made, and I'm actually doing a design for a leather corset.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
I'm having to get, I finally got the bust for the man figure, and I'm having to add some padding because, there's padding around this belly because it's been paid for. But I'm looking for a female one so we can build that, and then also I want to build a leather armor for a female as well. So
cool. That sounds awesome.
We got a lot of projects going.
I write about Valkyries, so the leather armor for a female sounds amazing.
So that's a great introduction. Some of the things that we like to do is for our viewers and our subscribers and our festival goers is to kind of find out more about you.
Okay.
Now, I did read a synopsis of you're a mother of 10.
Yes, I have 10 children. And I did birth them all. That's usually the follow-up question.
10 kids? How do you do it? I mean, even some of our viewers are going, 10 kids, oh my gosh.
Yeah, some people react that way, and some people are speechless, and some people are like, oh, okay. It just depends on what they're used to, what they've been exposed to. We have a very interesting dynamic. We have several teenagers. So we kind of have this philosophy that we want all of our kids to be functioning adults in society. We don't want our boys to be looking for a wife and thinking that's going to be his new mom. So all of the kids, and then we want our girls to be independent, free-thinking, and but also have the domestic abilities that people expect. So all of our children have been learning how to cook, they know how to clean, they know how to run a household, They're learning how to balance budgets, all of the things that they often don't teach in school, but that you need to know in order to function in society.
That's awesome.
So that's
That's
our
awesome.
system.
Yeah.
It's just
It's a nice dynamic. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's, in today's world, I mean, you don't see families of that size.
usually not.
What brought you to New Mexico?
Well, I'm not originally from here, which might be kind of obvious, but
Yeah, I can hear it in the accent.
yes, that's my New Jersey accent coming out. I lost some of it in the Midwest, but it's still, sometimes it will, and it's, oh, there's New Jersey. We came out here about 12 years ago, I think it was. We were looking for something different, basically. Okay. We came from the Midwest, and this seemed like a land with some good opportunity, and we had some connections here. My parents lived here.
Okay.
We were going to help them start a ranch. That didn't quite pan out the way we expected.
Ranching is hard.
It is, yeah, it is. And they're still, you know, they still have animals, and they do their thing, and we do our thing. So, but yeah, it's been an interesting ride since we came here, definitely.
So how long have you been in New Mexico?
I think 12 years, yes, because we came here in 2008, so 12 years.
Wow, 12 years. And you've probably been through a lot in 12 years as well. As far as a home life.
Yes.
And then, of course, now with the COVID thing, you had some shows that were canceled on you
I did.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
What other shows besides the New Mexico Renaissance Celtic Festival was canceled?
Well, I was going to make my debut as an author at the Boston Comic Con that ACE puts on, and that's a big one, so that was very exciting. And of course, it was devastating when it fell through, and then that was to be immediately followed with the Renaissance Celtic Festival, which I was very excited about.
Oh, we were excited to have you.
And I'm excited for when it finally happens. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. And then I had a couple of other Comic Cons that I was looking at, one in Arizona, one in Seattle. I was thinking about doing Chicago, and you know, all of them. The Chicago one would have been this coming month, but it's all.
Now, all those events, is it pretty costly to do something like that?
It is, but the exposure is incredible if you have something really unique, which thankfully I do.
Yes.
And when I spoke with the Ace Comic Con guys, and I told them what I was doing, they were really excited to bring me on, and they were saying, wow, this is really unique. You know, your target market's totally going to be there. I think it'll be a really great opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'd love to speak on panels and do things like that, but, you know, one step at a time.
Right. Well, you've got a lot going on at home front anyway. I mean, with 10 kids.
Yeah. Well,
are they all at home?
Well, one daughter is in the process of starting her independent life.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're in transition there. She is amazing. She's actually a huge reason why I even pursued this dream, was my oldest daughter.
Okay.
And then my other children, they have dreams of their own. We're kind of in the process of shipping them out one at a time.
So to get back to our interview, you have written a book.
Yes.
And the title of the book is Loki?
Loki of Midgard is the series name, but kind of like Harry Potter. You know how Harry Potter has Harry Potter and the
Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes,
and all this
exactly.
sort of stuff.
I do it that way as
Okay.
well. So it's Loki of Midgard, The Making of a Magician is the first one. The
Wow.
second one is Loki of Midgard, The Taming of the Trickster. And then the third one, which was supposed to be released several months ago, but COVID just kind of went beep.
Yeah, it did that to a lot of us.
Right. So I'm hoping that that we'll be able to release that. I'm not really sure when, but hopefully soon. And that one is going to be Loki of Midgard, The Rising of a Rebel.
So how many characters do you have in your book besides Loki?
Oh my goodness. Well, in the first
And these are all
one,
characters you've created.
Yes. Yeah, they're all my original characters, except for, so actually even Loki is my original character. He comes from Norse mythology, so you can really do anything you want with him since he's public domain. It'd be like writing about Zeus or, you know, any of the other pantheons. So I took some inspiration from Marvel, and I took some inspiration from Norse mythology, and I took inspiration from my own life and my understanding of human behavior and psychology, and I forged it all together to make my own unique Loki. So he fits. People who are familiar with Marvel can fit him into the Marvel Loki. People who are familiar with Norse mythology can fit him into that Loki. But he really is my own original character. And then I have several other characters from Norse mythology that are the same. I have Thor, Balder, Frigga, Odin, Tyr, several others. Sigyn, they're all there. And then I have my 1924 characters. One of my personal favorites is Kristoff. He is a tall, blonde, dashing Norwegian who is very good with the ladies and also very good with the finances and business. And he's the one who discovers Loki and helps him to transition from being the Asgardian prince, which he is on Asgard, into being the traveling magician Lucas Black, which is the role that he plays when he's on Earth.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's fun. I have a lot of fun with my characters. I understand them really well. They've all got backstories. I've even, looked into what is their personality? How would they respond in this situation? So to me, they're all living in my head. So it's fun. And
on top of everything she already does.
Yeah, that's kind of my escape,
Yeah.
It's like my little escape from reality.
Well, that's awesome. And then you've written another book?
So yes, I have another book which is prequel material. So this is from Loki's mother's perspective, Frigga. She is Odin's wife, so she's the queen of Asgard. And she has a very, very, very interesting story. And she is, in my universe, she is actually the head of the Valkyries. And the Valkyries are warrior women who fight. And in Norse mythology, they actually were called the... see if I can get this right, bearers of the slain, or something like that, where they actually ferried the injured off of the... You okay?
Yeah. Dry throat. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. They actually ferried the injured off of the battlefield, and they would decide who lived and who died. So the ones who died were ushered to Vala, and then the ones who lived, they were healed in some way. So I decided to take a very interesting take on this, and I have the Valkyries being the Asgardian equivalent of nurses and doctors. So they're healers, but they learn how to fight so that on the battlefield they can defend and fight, but they can also heal the wounded right there on the battlefield. So it's a little bit more efficient, if you will.
Yeah, which, that's kind of the battle terms in the military now, is that you have your medics intertwined, but your medics usually don't. They do carry a weapon, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, these medics, they absolutely can fight. They are taught and trained by Frigga. She started this group in my universe, and she is very good with the sword and very good with self-defense. She has a fighting technique that I gave a name to, and it's temporarily left my mind. But I think it's Venari. Is that what I named it? I'll have to go look. But sometimes I write so much I forget what I've written. But she has this, it's very similar to a fighting technique that's in existence here called, I think it's called Kalari. And it's like a mixture of martial arts and dance that she uses to just kick butt.
Wow.
So, and she...
it sounds like an interesting read.
Yeah, it's
if you're into the fantasy and the...
It's got a lot
Norse.
packed in there.
Yeah?
It's got a lot packed in there. There's the adventure, there's romance, there's difficult situations, there's conflict, there's relationship issues, all of that in there.
So where would our viewers find your books? So in case a viewer wanted to get one before Christmas or something like that, for a Christmas gift, or even for themselves.
Right.
How would they find it?
So right now, the first 2 books of the Loki of Midgard series are available on Amazon. They're very easy to find. If you just go to Amazon.com, type in Loki of Midgard, you should be able to pull them up. Mine have a black cover. The first one has a set of very intense green eyes on it. There is another Loki of Midgard book that was just published a couple of months ago. That is not my material. It's completely different. So that was someone else doing something. So that's not the same book, but mine are very distinctive. They have black covers with something green that just pops on the front.
Cool.
Yes, and they're available in paperback and ebook. And we are working currently on producing an audiobook. Yes.
Audiobooks.
Yes, we're doing a traditional audiobook and an audio drama. So we actually have characters. You asked me how many
Dun dun dun
characters.
dun.
I have over 40 characters in my first book alone.
Wow.
So having to cast all of those characters has been really interesting, but really fun. I've got some great people on my cast, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been really fantastic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Some of the questions I ask other vendors is, how long have you been doing this?
I started writing Loki of Masgard just shy of 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. That's a quick turnaround, though.
I know.
You think about it, I mean, now, are you publish yourself? Or?
I do, yes.
Okay.
When I first started this journey, I have some connections in the publishing world, and I asked them, what do you think I should do? Should I go the traditional publishing route, try to get somebody signed on to this to produce it, or should I do it myself? Should I go indie publishing, self-publishing, which is gaining a lot of traction now?
Yes.
And my cover designer actually really strongly encouraged me. And he told me the pros and cons of both, and I decided I wanted to maintain creative control of my material. I wanted to be able to decide what the cover design was going to be, how the layout would be done, what is edited and why, because you lose a lot of those rights, depending on who you publish with.
Because they pay you
Right.
to take some of the rights away.
They basically buy your material and then they produce it the way that they want to. And so and it depends on the publishing company, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that are in between traditional and indie. But I really wanted to maintain as much control as I need to and want to, because it's my baby.
Right.
You know. So I decided to go that route. I did a whole lot of research. I made the connections that I needed to, but I decided I'm going to do this right. If I'm going to do this myself, it has to be done with excellence. And so that's what I've really pushed for.
So what's something that you would tell our viewers, in like, for instance, someone out there is got the idea of writing, but they're not really sure, because writing takes on a whole different aspect, and there's a lot of us that think we are writers, but what would your advice be to someone that is thinking about doing something the same, not maybe the same character, but
of course,
writing and being an author,
right? And actually taking that step and making their material available to the world. First of all, I would say don't be scared. Releasing something that you've written that is your heart and soul it's scary, because you're basically giving everyone who reads it a look into your own soul. So I would say don't let that stop you. Don't let that intimidate you. Let yourself be open. I would also say don't quit, because it's hard. This process, this journey is not easy, but there are rewards and gains in it, and lessons that you learn as you go along the way that are so worth it. So don't quit. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot be, and don't let anyone tell you that you're not good enough, because you can learn the skills that you need to. Say, for instance, you've written something and you think that maybe it's not that good, or that it needs editing. You have a special message to share with the world that is unique to you, that nobody else can share. So even if you don't have the polish, that can be learned. So don't let it stop you. Just forge through. That's what I would
awesome. So is there anything planned for you before the end of the year?
Before the end of the year, no. Everything has been canceled until 2021. But I'm hoping that 2021 we're gonna just right out of the gate start strong. I'm looking forward to the Renaissance Festival. I'm hoping that ACE will start picking up events. Yeah. We'll just, like everything in this whole COVID thing, play
so
it by
besides
ear.
Finding you on Amazon, finding the book on Amazon, is there a Facebook page for your character or your book?
For me as an author, I have a professional Facebook page.
Okay.
It's just Jennifer Meinking. It's easy to find. I'm also on Instagram. I'm not super active on Instagram just because I haven't really learned it well enough. I'm also on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm even less active on Twitter. I do have a Pinterest page. And I have a newsletter that you can sign up for through my website, and I have a website as well, and that's just jennifermeinking.com. So it's easy, as long as you know how to spell my last name.
And we'll go ahead and put that in the comment sections below, the links to all this for you when this does get produced out and published. Sorry. Woo.
New Mexico dry air.
Very dry air. Just the last thing, as some of your characters, when we were building these bracers, you said, "Oh my gosh, that would be so cool."
Yes, I did.
You have a character that would wear something similar to this.
So I don't know if you can see this, but this, as soon as I saw it, I immediately thought of Frigga, and I was talking about her a little bit earlier. So these are armbands, right?
Yes.
So you would put it on. Is it okay if I put it on?
The other way.
Oh, the other way. Of course. I always do everything backwards. So it would be an arm brace like this that would protect you from slashes and other kinds of things that could take off. Well, I mean, if you have a strong enough thing, it'll still take off your arm, but it can protect a lot of the nicks and things that can happen. So it's something.
Is she a warrior?
She's a warrior, yes. So
okay. A Valkyrie?
Yes, she's the head of the Valkyries. She's the one who started the whole thing.
Oh, this is the queen that you're talking about?
The queen, yes.
Oh.
Queen Frigga. So when I saw those, I thought, oh my goodness, if someday, if my material gets big enough, I would
create something for her.
I would love to cosplay Frigga. I absolutely would love to cosplay her. She's actually like me.
Do you have plans of creating a book? Is that third book, though?
It's the prequel material, yeah.
Prequel.
She's in the Loki of Masgard series, but in that she doesn't, because she's not the main focus, there's not as much of her as there is in the prequel series. Which
but you can actually go on to making a whole book about her, huh?
That's what I've done. It's a whole series.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's the prequel series. The first one is called To Love a Queen, and that's the beginning of it, and that shows how she started the Valkyries and why. And then the second one, I haven't named it yet. I'm still working on that. It's To Love Us Something, and I don't know what. So if you have any suggestions for names,
post it in the comment section so we can check it out.
And if I choose yours, I will acknowledge you in the book. But then the third one is going to be the wrap up, and that's going to be called To Love a King. And so there's going to be a lot of...
On her version of Loving a King.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. And so that's going to be... there's going to be battle in it. She's going to appear in battle. I've already written a couple of scenes where she totally kicks some guys. It's pretty awesome.
You ever think this would come into a series or script writing?
Yes,
film?
I absolutely want to see my stuff on film someday. I mean, every author does.
Right.
But yeah, I've even been told, my cover designer, when he was reading the synopsis and getting into the material, he told me, this is cinematic. And that just made me squee. So that was pretty cool to hear that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and visiting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Giving us an opportunity to get to know who you are. You know,
thank you
I think
so much.
these books are interesting and would be a great read. If you're into comics, into Norse mythology.
Yes. Or even just historical fiction, because I've got all the 1920s in there too.
Really, the 1920s? That's right, because he goes...
Loki in the 1920s.
He goes from the Earth. Yeah,
yes.
As the magician. Okay.
Right.
Well, there you go, folks. Thanks for joining us here at the New Mexico Renaissance Celtic Festival's YouTube channel. Please do subscribe.